This is the show where you hear everything geek culture.
Rules? We don't think so.
This is the Geek Speak Radio Show. Welcome back to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Welcome back, everyone.
Look who's here. Finally back from the library, picking your book.
Yeah, I've kind of taken a break from that. Been watching a lot of TV.
Yeah, we'll do that later. The Geek Speak Radio Show Book Club. We will do that a little bit later. And I hope you have a good one, non-Halloween one. Not a comic book either.
I don't.
Okay, so, and not only, I'm not alone here anymore.
I know, we have
a special guest. Somebody really cool that we met at Ape. When was it, a month ago?
Yeah.
Feels like years ago, but it was only a month ago. Rehana Khan, hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here again. So, let's talk about you. Everybody knows Romo already, so let's ignore him. But let's talk about you. So tell everybody a little bit about what you do.
I am a concept and 2D artist for Playdom right now. They're also known as Disney Interactive Media Group. And I basically do all the art for the Facebook games that everybody plays.
When you say 2D artists, because we talked to a couple people who are 3D artists. What's the difference between doing 2D and 3D?
Well, concept artists, you come up with concept art for regular, for all kinds of games or characters. But 2D art is known to do a lot of vector art or flash art for all the games on Facebook.
That means that's Klingon to me. What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, I mean, it's self-explanatory. You just do like vector artwork or...
Well, yeah, for you. But
yeah. What
does it mean for people who have no clue or going, what? What does that mean?
It means that you create art on the programs Flash or Illustrator, and you create those to be they're really clean designs that can be animated with, and you just put those into the programs to create the Facebook games. But
so these are mobile games, Henry, so they're very interactive to play on your cell phones and stuff. That's why they're the way they are.
And they can be vector art.
He's thinking Arkham Asylum for a city.
Oh.
No, I'm thinking what you're doing right there. Instead of being on the show, you're playing with your iPad apps there. Is that kind of
it's kind
what you do? Not the apps, but I mean the games that you find on iPads and all that?
Yeah.
Okay. So when did you decide, hey, I want to do this for a living?
Since I was a kid. I've been drawing for a very long time, and I mean at first I wanted to get into like what everybody wanted to get to, work for Pixar and do 3D. So I went to school for 3D, but doing 3D, like it kind of made me discover I wanted to get more into the 2D aspect of
Where
things.
did you go to school at?
Expression College for digital arts.
Right in the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of students from there. It's a good choice because a lot of students from there end up getting internships at Pixar because it's so close.
Yeah.
Was that your intention?
That was my intention. But I mean, I discovered a whole new passion for just the 2D stuff while going there. I'm so glad I learned the 3D because I can say I can do 3D. But I mean, I guess my true passion was just doing all the concept art and 2D stuff and just getting into the production part of...
Earlier in the show, we spoke to the Noman School in LA, and I asked them, but let me ask you about expressions. Again, you're not a teacher there, but you did go through the program. When you go there, are you able to tailor the program to what you want, or is it pretty much a one-size-fits-all kind of course?
It's a little bit of both, because when I went there, I don't know if the programs have changed since I've been there, because I've been out of there for 4 years now, but they teach you a little bit of everything, and then towards the end, when you take your final class or your final project class, you kind of choose what you want to get into, and you make your demo reel based off of that. So they kind of teach you rigging, animation, 3D, texture and lighting, and game production, and then you kind of choose like, hey, I think I'm better at texturing, or texturing and lighting. I want my reel more geared towards texture and lighting.
Yeah, that's actually something that I was wondering about. Is when students first go in there, like you mentioned, you wanted to draw, you wanted to do this. Do they all go in there and then somewhere in the program they say, hey, no, actually I kind of like this part or this better?
Yeah, I've had a few friends who have thought they wanted to get into one thing, but they decided they wanted to get into something else.
It seems like it's a very specific field that a lot of people choose. I mean, for you yourself, you say that you're doing animation, visual effects, but you also do your own stuff as far as just drawings, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember I saw the video on the Geek Speak Radio Show on YouTube, and I saw when Henry did the interview with you at Ape. I liked a lot of your art.
Thank you.
Yeah, and let me say, do you think that you're actually going to be considering to pursue it even more into a different area as far as comic books than just, what's your goal?
For career or personal?
Personal.
Well, I guess goal personally, I'd like to get my art out there anyway, either whether it's through comics or just like regular exposure through like DeviantArt or website, you know, like just so people could be like, hey, cool, you know, her art is pretty cool. But mainly like I do have stories and I do have characters of my own that I've always wanted to push out there. So a comic book is definitely something that I've always wanted to do, even before Expression.
Nice.
And if you guys want to see her art, conart.com. Don't say it, Romo.
I'm not.
Okay, go ahead.
What?
Your con.
Oh.
How many times have you heard that?
A lot.
Con!
Yeah, it's conart.com. I'm going to have a link on it on geekspeakradioShow.com in the link section. Where else would it be? And one of them, it is also on the YouTube video that we did at Ape. The one I really liked was your idea to make one of the drawings you have into a comic book. I like the concept of it. Tell us about that.
You mean the little boy with the monsters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
those
his
are
pet monkey, was it?
His pet monkey Squeak. Yeah. So basically, the whole concept of that is there's a little boy. He's like becomes the chosen one every generation. There's a boy that becomes like the monster hunter, and he has a stuffed animal monkey. And the stuffed animal monkey is the sidekick, and they basically go under the bed to create a balance in between the monsters infiltrating into the human world. So, I mean, it's supposed to be cute, comical, like really funny humor. The monkey's the smart one, while the little boy's like the naive, innocent one. And so, yeah, it's just basically their adventures together.
Really kid-oriented, I see.
Yeah.
You could turn that into a children's book. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Was that, from the beginning, was that the idea, or did it take shape as you started going into it?
That was the initial idea. Like throughout the many years that I've had those characters, it has taken shape. Like he's even changed because like my drawing skills improved. So he actually looks like he's 7 years old instead of 12 years old. But yeah, I've been just developing tidbits here and there, any cool ideas that I seem to find, like I'll just throw it in there in the story and develop the story more and more. And this year it's I've been trying to make a point to try to develop the story in full so I can, by next Ape, I can have a comic out.
Or WonderCon. That's coming up first.
Or WonderCon, yeah.
This year, in case you guys, again, still don't know, it's going to be in Anaheim, not in San Francisco. It's always in San Francisco, but this time around it's going to be in Anaheim, only because renovations to the...
So they better be booking their hotel flights right now.
Yeah, same problem as San Diego Comic-Con. They're going to have it at WonderCon this year. So we're talking to Rehana Khan. Again, her art is, what is it again? Conart.com. It's up on the link section at geekspeakradioshow.com. The show we're talking to, like I said, a lot of schools and also a lot of students and graduate students who are in the industry and whatever they want, whether it's visual effects, writers, actors. Even we're going to talk to a few actors later on in the show. For you, somebody who's out there who has any idea of to write a book, to write a comic, to draw, whatever it is, what would you tell them so they can stick to their dream and make it become a reality?
To keep working on it and never go up. Because, yeah, like I mean, this idea has been, for example, for me, this idea has been around for a while, and I could have like kind of easily just kind of let it fall off the radar. But, yeah, like keep pursuing it, keep going after it. Don't ever give up. You never know who's going to look at it. You know, there are so many people out there that like different things or like, I mean, your audience isn't the same, basically. So even if you're not confident enough that you might think that people might like it or not like it, there is definitely somebody out there that's going to like it. And you should get your stuff out there. I think that's like what Ape is for. I've seen so many people like throwing their stuff out there. And I mean, last year was my first Ape. And I was scared to have my stuff put out there before that. And I was like, oh my God, what are people going to think of my stuff? And I mean, I'm really glad I did it because it kind of gave me more confidence to have my stuff being shown and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of people are probably thinking, yeah, easy for her to say she went from expressions to now she's employed doing the drawings for Facebook. But what do you really have to do to be you, to go from graduating to actually getting an actual paid job?
A lot of persistence. Because a lot of people... I mean, a lot of schools might tell you, like, oh, you know, we'll get you a job after. Yeah. But when it comes down to it, and even my friends could say the same, it all depends on you, and it depends on how hard you're willing to throw yourself out there. Because there are a lot of people who might, you know, think that, oh, my stuff is never going to get seen. A lot of it has to do with timing, too. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, if you could put yourself through school, I always suggest to find, like, a cheaper... school because art school is expensive. But if you can find a school that can give you the same kind of, because nowadays, there's more. It's more common in a lot of universities as well. 3D is becoming more and more common. Like when I was going expression, it wasn't very common. But yeah, if you can go put yourself through school, take a lot of like drawing classes. Figure drawing is like really, really important, and it helps shape like your drawing style and get you to draw things the right way. So if you can do that, and it's like always practice. I mean, it sounds cliche, but practice makes perfect.
Yeah, a lot today. A lot of the programs, the software that you use, are actually available legally or illegally. So, what is the difference between going to school and learning how to use it and just downloading it and using it on your own?
You can. I mean, you might just miss out on things that you didn't learn at school. I know there are a lot of DVDs out there, like the Gnomon DVDs. They can teach you a lot of what you can do, or the digital tutor DVD. I remember learning a lot of stuff through there too. But I feel like sometimes like you do need school just to learn things traditional way. Like people think like, oh, I don't need to learn how to paint. I don't need to learn how to like draw the traditional way. I was like, me personally, I think you do. I mean, in order to be a better artist, in order to stand out, in order to get better faster, you need all those traditional things. And there could definitely be things in school that you didn't pick up while learning those DVDs, or just like learning on your own or learning online.
And if somebody's a computer geek, can they go from computer geek to artist or vice versa?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, all it is just taking practice and doing their best.
Okay, so again, we're talking to Rehana Khan. You can check out her art at conart.com, up on the link section on geekspeakradioshow.com. So thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And you're welcome back anytime, either in studio or on the phone. And let us know whenever you do anything new, any new project. What do you have anything that's coming up that you can tell us about?
I mean, there's that comic that I plan on doing, and there's a secret project that I can't talk about it yet.
Or she'll have to kill us.
Yeah. You first, though.
That'd be good radio.
I'm trying to develop a game on my own. So we'll see like how that happens. Right now it's pre-production phase and trying to see how long it's going to take. Because right now I am focusing on trying to finish that comic first. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll let you guys know.
Well, we'll see you at 8 next year?
Yeah.
Cool.
Speaking of Abe, one last thing. I was also going to say part of going to school is the networking that you do from teachers and from fellow students. That's also something that's necessary for you to get ahead, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. Keep good relation with people too. Like there are a lot of different kinds of personalities out there, but like be the best or nice person that you can be, and be genuine, because like a lot of people remember that. Be social. Go talk to anyone you can, not bother them too much. Like, don't be a fanatic.
Face-to-face social, not through Twitter or Facebook or email.
Not like, I follow you all the time. Yeah. But, just go talk to people, ask questions.
Well, especially in this industry, you have to, social networking is not what they mean for like, you have to network yourself, and like what you've done, going to Abe, going to conventions and mingle with people, and that's how you're able to get the job.
I'll tell you both, you especially, Rihanna, our industry, radio, is very, very small. I mean, literally everybody knows everybody, and everybody's worked with somebody else, and that's how you get jobs.
Yeah.
Is it the same in
I think so.
Your industry?
Yeah, because I think the majority of jobs that I've gotten was through people that I know.
Yeah,
I mean, at Ape, I talked. At Ape, I talked to Daniel Cooney, who does a comic book it's called Valentine. Yeah, and we had a discussion there, and he talked about a lot of his students were there at Ape, having booths themselves. Not only him, as being the teacher, but it seems like it's a whole. Once you're in that field, you got to make a name for yourself. Do you find that your name, Rehana Khan, could be one day, really big?
It's possible. I can only hope so.
When you wish upon a star.
Yes.
Going back to the Walt Disney thing. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. So again, Rehana Khan, thanks a lot for coming in. Like I said, you're welcome back anytime. And you guys can check out her art at conart.com. We'll keep in touch. Anything you have new, any breaking news, we'll break it on here.
Thank you.
So again, everybody stay right there. We'll be right back and have, stay right there. You'll find out what it is.
The Geek Speak Radio Show will be right back.
What do you really know about the life of Walt Disney? Okay, you may know some things about Mickey and Disneyland, but if you think you know more than that, feel free to say something now. We thought so. If you want to get to know the Walt in Disney, the risk-taking and always inventive man behind the magic, visit the Walt Disney Family Museum, filled with interactive stories, movies, music, and original animation in the Presidio, San Francisco.
So how much do you know about Walt Disney? Everyone knows Mickey, but do you know his birthday? The name of Walt Disney's first animation studio? Here's a hint. It wasn't the Walt Disney Studios. Your knowledge of everything Disney will get you a family fun pack, which includes a visit to the Walt Disney Family Museum at the Presidio in San Francisco and a Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Just answer 4 Disney trivia questions and you may be one of the random weekly winners chosen throughout the month of November. The questions will be asked on the show and posted on the Geek Speak Radio Show Facebook page. Just post your correct answers and you may be the lucky winner of 4 tickets to the Walt Disney Family Museum and a special Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Plus, you'll get to see the new Disney Artists Holiday Wishes exhibition, making its debut this month. Get all the details at geekspeakradioshow.com.
Where you hear everything geek culture. It's all part of the plan. This is the Geek Speak Radio Show.
It is the Geek Speak Radio Show. Welcome back. Thanks again to Rehana Khan. Having a lot of fun today.
I had a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, and guess what? We're not done.
I know we're not.
Like I said, Rehana, we met at Ape, when was it, a month ago? Feels like she even said it a year ago. Feels like years ago, but it was only a month ago. We met her there, very cool people. Another really, really cool person that we met there with a really cool project is AJ. And AJ is actually in LA getting ready for Kamikaze, which is happening this weekend. For those of you who didn't know, make your way out there. So AJ, welcome to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Oh, hey, thank you.
Good to talk to you again. Your project is the Super Newts, but you told me about the company again. You guys can catch it on YouTube on our videos. Our Ape interviews are on there. AJ's on there, and you mentioned that it was part of Good Feet Entertainment. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Good Fit Entertainment. It's a company that my brother and I started about a year and a half ago, and which is mainly about just entertaining people. I mean, we do animations, music videos, comic books, tons of stuff in the works, including a video game for the future. So we're not really a production company. Some people think, hey, can you do this for us or that for us? I mean, which is great. But that's stuff that I would do on the side. It's not really a part of Good Fit. But we have 2 productions in the works right now, which is the Super Newts and the Adventures of Dorse and Doose.
Tell us a little bit about the Super Newts and Dorse and Doose.
Okay, the Super Newts, it's about a team of brother and sister Newts. Their names are cool and cute, and they discover they have these superpowers and end up in this amphibious world called Amphibiland, where everything there is either an amphibian or an insect, and there is where they start learning about their past and their new powers and making some allies and taking on supervillains. So we have 3 comics currently out. The first one's called The Super Within. The second one is called A Newt Beginning. And the third one is The Fangless Vampire. Yes, he's fangless, and he's the vampire. And we have the 4th one coming out in a month or 2. And for the Adventures of Dorse and Doose, we're really excited about that. That one is about a big red horse named Dorse who believes he's a dog, but he's being trained and raised by a dog named Doose. So we have a children's book coming out actually next week, and we are really, really excited about that. So it's great for all ages, but 6 and up would be the better age if they want to read on their own. But parents can read it to their kids, and it's really colorful. And you can check the characters out on the website, goodfit.com.
Yeah, and
G-U-D.
And you G-U-D, that is, G-U-D-F-I-T. Because like you said in the interview, everything in Texas is big. So it's G-U-D.
Yeah, big. Good.
Yeah. And so you and your brother are the writers and the artists, right, for both?
No, well, actually, my brother and I are the writers, but I handle the artwork. So.
Okay. Yeah, and some of the artwork it looks a lot like cartoons, like Saturday morning cartoons. Is like you said, it's for 6 and up. Was that does that why you drew it that way, or is that just your style all the time?
Well, it developed into my style because of artist works that I like Rusty Mills and stuff. So it developed into a style. But I definitely love Saturday morning cartoons, especially Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes with the cell animation, because Dorse and Doose is not so much as Flash, even though I have some animated stuff in Flash. But I'm just a true fan of the traditional sense of the art. So the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the old stuff. Well, original. I shouldn't say old, but
yeah.
The original stuff, the Warner Brothers stuff, early Disney stuff. So you could get, some of those characteristics and some of the things that you see, or the way certain things are handled, and like lines and colored lines and backgrounds and backdrops.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're talking to AJ again. He's an artist for the Super Newts and the Adventures of Dorse and Doose. And you and your brother, when did you guys go from actually just talking about it to actually sitting down and writing and starting to draw both the books?
Well, it started because we were both trying to find our way after working on numerous jobs, and then we just started thinking about old stuff that we had. And, my mom had a huge part in this, a huge part. She's like, hey, you used to do this and that, and then my brother's like, hey, yeah, the Super Newts. What happened with those? And because the Super Newts was just something. It was really fun, something I used to draw in high school, and so I started writing out the stories that I used to have. I found all my old writings and started writing it out, and like, hey, we got something here. We can develop this into something. So we spent about maybe a year or so developing the character backgrounds, and we came up with 20 stories. So there'll be definitely 20 comics, and probably more than that. So we wrote out a whole season of comics and cartoons for the Super Newts. And Dorse and Doose, on the other hand, that was something that I thought of when I was really young. Dorse was the stuffed animal that I had. I'm not even sure what it was. It was red. Whatever it was red. It had no eyeballs. It had been loved by probably 300 kids before me, and somehow I ended up with it from a garage sale or something. And it looks like a horse, but it looks like a dog. I don't know. I honestly don't know what it was. And since I couldn't say horse, I said Dorse. So it became Dorse. So I developed him into this friendly horse. And Doose and the rest of them, Curry Goat and Lanza the Llama, they came later on in the story, but Dorse was the main character.
Yeah, you mentioned Rusty Nails a minute ago. I don't know if you want to speak for your brother, but for you, who were some of your biggest influences when you started actually drawing?
Well, when I actually started drawing, I would say before I knew about Rusty, it was probably, I'm a huge Stan Lee fan because I was so inspired by his work, like reading comics when I was growing up. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the artist for that. And then along came Rusty, because I loved Garfield and Friends. He worked on that. Mm-hmm. Pinky and the Brain, Animaniacs, The American Tale, Five Goes West. There was so much stuff that I didn't even know that he had done that I just liked. I just love that stuff. Like, man, this is great. I wonder, who is that guy? and then I was fortunate enough to meet him and actually work on a project or two with him. And I learned so much in such a short time. So Rusty is definitely up there. John K., the Ren and Stimpy creator. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to meet him as well, and I learned a lot of stuff from him. Now, my style is definitely different from John's. If you're familiar with John's work, Ren and Stimpy and all his other characters that he created. But it's still. I guess it was the passion that you could see in the work. You could see that they cared about it. It wasn't just another. It just wasn't another project.
Yeah.
And you could see that.
Yeah. So those are some of your inspirations. For you and your brother, what would you say were some of the biggest obstacles, whether personal or professional, in actually getting the books out there?
Well, the biggest obstacle, for one, is yourself. You have to be able to take criticism. You have to have thick skin, because everyone, well, not everyone. I can't say everyone. But the majority of people will tell you that you cannot do it. And they're going to tell you have to do this in order to do it, else you're not going to go anywhere, or you have to be in L.A., or you have to be in New York, or you have to go to Nickelodeon. You can't do it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way, or you need to be rich, or you're going to go broke. So the biggest obstacle was finding people, creating a team that actually believed that it could be done. And it could be done on a limited budget. And then money, of course.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to finance it.
Right.
To a certain degree. With whether it's through donations from people or philanthropists, friends or whomever. You have to be able to fund it from work. So that was probably the main obstacle. Yeah. Because it's really hard when you're going to do something and someone's telling you, well, you can't really do that. Who are you? Who do you think you are? You've never worked for Disney, AJ. And, people have told me that you've never worked for Disney. You've never worked for DreamWorks or ILM. So, why should we help you out? Why should we give you money? Who have you worked for? That's what a lot of people were asking me. Who have you worked for? What have you done? What have you done that we respect? And, they weren't looking at the other side of it, because I believe that there's always room for a new story, and if you package something correctly, you can do it. Now, it's great to have people in your corner, and you can do it without them, but it's much easier to have people with you.
Yeah.
So the greatest obstacle there was getting people to be in your corner, because you can't do it alone, completely alone with no support. And I was fortunate enough to have the support from as many as I could to keep it going, because it gets frustrating. You've money and you have to work 8 hours a day at your job. And you come home and you work throughout the night till the next morning, and you go to your job and you get 8 hours again. And it goes. So you have to be willing to go that extra mile, and you have to have people that's willing to go that extra mile with you.
Yeah, I would add to that, actually, you got to have a love for what you do. You really, really have to love what you're doing, whether it's, like you drawing or us doing being on the radio. You really got to love it, because I've always said that I don't consider what I do a job. It's a part of me. It's what I do, and I love doing it. There's no off time, there's no vacation time to me, because it just never ends for me. It is what I do.
Right. You have to love it. Other people say, well, oh man, you're either gonna go broke or you should just sell it and get rich quick. And
yeah.
For me, it was never about getting rich quick.
Yeah.
You know, else I would have been knocking at every studio. Hey, you know, buy the Super Newts, buy Dorse and Doose. This is what I got. I just want to get rich, you know. I just want the money. I'll make any deal. I mean, I was never in it for that. And I'm like, you're crazy. You should just take the money and run. I mean, I was never in it for that. I love what I do.
Yeah.
It feels great when someone asks me, well, what do you do for a living? I say, I'm an artist. What? Well, how do you make money? I'm an artist. And it feels good, you know, to say that I'm an artist. That's what I do. Whether it's drawing stuff or animating something or doing theater, voiceover, I'm an artist.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And it feels good. And the more that I continue to do what I'm doing, what I enjoy, eventually I'll get some monetary income from it.
Yeah. Like I always say, if you're good at what you do, the money will just come.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
It will.
So he's an artist. His name is AJ, and him and his brother are the creators of the Super Newts and also the Adventures of Dorse and Doose. And you're at Kamikaze now. Where else can we see Dorse and Doose and the Super Newts?
Well, you can go on the website. That's goodfit.com, GUDFIT. And eventually there'll be a game coming out early next year. So we'll have that up, and that'll be of Dorse and Doose. And we're looking to get an animated series going of Dorse and Doose.
Okay.
So stay tuned for that. And the children's book of Dorse and Doose as well will be out. So we're going to launch a huge Dorse and Doose campaign in the next couple of months. Everything Dorse and Doose. That doesn't mean the Super Newts are going anywhere, because the next couple of comics is a series for them. It'll be a 3-part series titled Blood Type Sangre.
Okay.
So, yeah, you'll be able to check that out as well.
Okay, so you guys will definitely be busy pretty soon. And like I said, you're welcome back anytime to talk about it. And anything you want to talk Dorse and Doose, you're welcome to come on and tell us about it.
Yes, that sounds great.
So again, it's AJ. He's the artist of the Super Newts and the Adventures of Dorse and Doose. Thanks a lot, AJ. And like I said, you're welcome back anytime.
All right, thank you.
All right, AJ, thanks a lot. And let's take a break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversations with, another cool little thing for you.
Geek Speak Radio Show will be right back.
What do you really know about the life of Walt Disney? Okay, you may know some things about Mickey and Disneyland, but if you think you know more than that, feel free to say something now. We thought so. If you want to get to know the Walt and Disney, the risk-taking and always inventive man behind the magic, visit the Walt Disney Family Museum, filled with interactive stories, movies, music, and original animation in the Presidio, San Francisco.
So how much do you know about Walt Disney? Everyone knows Mickey, but do you know his birthday? The name of Walt Disney's first animation studio? Here's a hint. It wasn't the Walt Disney Studios. Your knowledge of everything Disney will get you a family fun pack, which includes a visit to the Walt Disney Family Museum at the Presidio in San Francisco and a Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Just answer 4 Disney trivia questions and you may be one of the random weekly winners chosen throughout the month of November. The questions will be asked on the show and posted on the Geek Speak Radio Show Facebook page. Just post your correct answers and you may be the lucky winner of 4 tickets to the Walt Disney Family Museum and a special Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Plus, you'll get to see the new Disney Artists Holiday Wishes exhibition, making its debut this month. Get all the details at geekspeakradioshow.com.
Back to the Geek Speak Radio Show. Now back to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Geek Speak Radio Show. So, having a lot of fun today.
Yeah, we are.
Packed show.
I mean, what can I say?
Talking to the people who actually make the stuff that we geek out
The
about.
movers and makers.
And shakers, I mean, too. And 3D makers, too.
Yeah.
So we talked to the Noman School in LA. They show you how to do the visual effects. Now another really cool school, not in Hollywood.
This is the one I want to apply to.
Yeah, perfectly located in the back lot of Universal Studios. That is the Dave School. And who's Dave?
Who is he?
He's not a person, actually.
But it's the place to learn.
Yeah, it stands for Digital Animation and Visual Effects. So it's the Dave School. Kind of clever, actually. So on the phone, we have the executive director of the Dave School. That would be Steve Warner. Steve, welcome to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. So before we get into the Dave School, let's get into Steve a little bit. Tell us a little bit about you and what you were doing before you came to the Dave School.
How far back do you want me to go on this?
Well, not birth, but your adult life forward.
Yeah, I started working creatively as a professional in the early '90s while I was still actually in college studying fine art, and that led to running my own studio, and that was right about the point where computer graphics were becoming more common in film and television. And that after about 10 years of running my own studio and sort of developing a name for myself, I ended up working as an art director out at an Air Force base. We did air combat training simulation work. And I did that for about 8-9 years. And then a buddy of mine was out here working at the Dave School, and he said, you should come out. It's amazing. And I was like, Dave School, Florida. I was in Arizona. I was having a good time. And I came out on a completely unrelated venture, and I told my wife at the time, I said, we should stop by and see my buddy here in Florida, or it's going to be bad form. I had no idea that I was going to end up here. And what I saw when I walked through the door just absolutely blew my mind. I mean, I saw people doing things that people dream about doing, and they were doing it in such a short period of time. And I'd been training people for years in terms of 3D. I'd been, I'd written several books on 3D, and I knew what you could reasonably expect in a fairly short period of time. But what I saw here just blew my mind, and I told my wife after about 3 days we left. 3 days later, I told her, I said, I think I want to quit, and I want to move to Florida. And she was like, all right, if it makes you happy, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And we did. 3 months later, we packed up and moved out here, and I've been here since.
Now, when you first visited, was it already in the back lot, or was it somewhere else?
Yeah, so the school really has been around for 11 years now, and it's always been on the back lot of Universal Studios. Literally started in a double-wide trailer in a parking lot, and we have that picture. So when you come tour the school, and you guys should be coming to tour the school, we'll show it to you because that's our beginning. So we never really despise small beginnings. We always show, it's just like the students. They come here sort of unassuming, but by the time that they leave, they're powerhouses. So from our standpoint, we've been on the back lot for 11 years. We moved outside the gate for a period of time. We were still considered on the back lot, but as of last year, we actually moved into one of the sound stages. So we're sitting out looking over this ginormous sound stage. We've got one of the largest green screen cycloramas on the eastern seaboard and state-of-the-art mocap, and it's fun. So it's an impressive facility.
And again, we're talking to Steve Warner, Executive Director of the Dave School. Dave School located, like we said, in the back lot of Universal Studios in Florida. So tell us about the courses offered at the Dave School.
Okay, so really we have one core program that we run, and it's basically just called Digital Animation and Visual Effects. And the way that the course was structured, the founder of the school was a man named Jeff Sheets, and he'd been working out in Hollywood at a studio called Foundation Imaging. You guys heard of a show called Babylon 5 that was out?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Babylon 5, they'd been wanting to make that show for a number of years, right? And the problem was that up until that point, you look back at the 80s, you look at late 70s, early 80s, you'll get the Battlestar Galactica stuff that was coming out. All had to be done with practical models. So it was really expensive to pull off a show like that. And so they wanted to do Babylon 5, but they said, this is just completely impossible. And there's no way on budget we're going to make this happen. There was a gentleman named Ron Thornton, though, who'd been a visual effects supervisor for a number of years. He got himself his hands on some 3D animation software for personal computers at that point in the late 1980s. And by the early 1990s, he was pretty adept at it, and he walked into the production offices and he said, check this out. And he showed them this flyby animation of the Hero spaceship. And everyone's jaws dropped, and they went, how much? And he said, I can do this for half the cost of traditional models. And they went, sold. And the reality is, I've talked to Ron, and he said I could do it for a tenth of the cost. So he just banked on that deal. And from that, he started a company called Foundation Imaging. And Foundation went on to do effects work for all Babylon 5. They did work on Star Trek. And a number of the early shows that were launched that used computer visual effects started out at Foundation. And go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, I was going to mention Star Trek Voyager was the first one that I thought that, really, you could really tell that it was obviously light years ahead of the original Star Trek, but also Star Trek The Next Generation and Voyager, you could really see it was movie-type effects, and I think that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, up until the early 90s, you never really saw computer-generated effects in a television show because it wasn't practical and it was extraordinarily difficult to pull that off. I mean, really, this goes into a longer discussion about sort of the evolution of computer graphics. It's something that we go over on the orientation date so we can frame our program and why we have the school and how it developed into what it is. But, I mean, ultimately, it's that revolution that happened in the early 90s when the average user, and I say the average user, I mean somebody without deep pockets, could start using software, become proficient at it, and then go on to do amazing things. And that's kind of what Foundation was. It was all of these people who didn't come out of Lucasfilm or any of the other large studios. They'd just been doing this on their own. And so there was this revolution when you saw those Hollywood-style visual effects, models and animations being done. Hercules and Xena and Sliders and all of these shows that sort of emerged were sort of they're setting a new trend, right, on television, because up until that point, you only saw that type of thing on feature films.
I love Sliders.
So, yeah. How can you not love something about parallel universes?
Yeah.
Come on.
Fringe. Hello.
I know.
Yeah, Fringe is awesome.
Yeah.
But so that was sort of the turning point in terms of entertainment, and Foundation was where it was mainly happening at that point. And one of the animators who was working out there was a man named Jeff Sheets, and Jeff had been working as an animator. And as the studio was growing and they were taking on more work, Ron Thornton, who was the founder of the school, the studio, had gone to Jeff and he said, "Hey, I need you to hire a bunch of additional artists." And so Jeff was just weeding through these demo reels, and he was looking at me like, "God, these people just need help because they don't understand how to put a demo reel together, let alone show the type of work that we actually need."
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, there were talks that went on about maybe we should start a school. And Jeff ended up leaving Foundation, coming back to Florida, and took the idea and ran with it. And that was sort of the germ, the seed, if you will, for the school. And what came out of that then was a curriculum that wasn't based on any books or just sort of the idea of, well, let's start a school for a school's sake. It was really started from the notion of, hey, I worked in Hollywood. I know what's needed in Hollywood. And so the curriculum is going to be based on a working knowledge of what you really need to get hired. And the first employees all came pretty much from Foundation and were pulled from the industry. And that's kind of our MO. We continue to pull instructors who have practical experience, who've worked on real productions. And so our program, to sort of circle that back to your original question, and I warned you because I can get wordy, but I will come back, trust me. I will always come back to the point. The program itself is basically a 12-month program, and we teach what we call a generalist program. But really what it is specialists in 3 different disciplines that go together to give you a broad understanding of what it's really required to work in terms of visual effects. And so we have a 3-month course on modeling, a 3-month course on animation, and a 3-month course on film visual effects. And those all go together in the final 3 months of the program where we put you into production. And that's one of the things that begins to differentiate us from a lot of other schools is we actually put students into production working under supervisors, working in teams. And when they come out, they understand exactly what it's like to be on the job because for all intents and purposes, they have.
So then all the teachers are working professionals, right?
They are, and many of them continue to be working professionals. So you look at Jason Pashon, he was an animator at Disney. Daniel Smith was a stereoscopic supervisor. Dave West, our animation instructor, worked at Foundation as one of the lead animators. So each of the instructors that we have on staff is having that background in terms of actual production is one of the job requirements.
So then the kids benefit. That's really good as far as the students learning from experts.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, nothing. There's no value to just reading it from a book. Having that person who's actually sat in the trenches and said, wow, what do I have to do to really make this happen? That's where the real value of the education comes from.
Yeah, and after that, like you said, actually working on a working production. I mean, how better can it get?
Yeah.
Well, it's really cool. Like the last project that we did, we always call these our Block 4 projects. Each quarter we call a block. The last one we did was with Greg Hale, and Greg Hale was the producer of the Blair Witch Project, which is the single most impressive, independent film ever released, the highest grossing independent film of all time. And Greg had a personal project that he was doing for a band called Clutch, and it was a music video. And he came to us and he said, hey, I've got this project. I want to develop it, but there's 170 visual effects shots. And to put that into comparison, it's not uncommon for a feature film to have only 80 or 90 visual effects shots. So in this music video that he was doing, it had twice the number of, your average feature film. And he came to us and he said, I want to get this produced. And we looked at it as an opportunity to work with Greg Hale and on a real, video for a real band. And so we did, and we undertook it, and it's awesome. And if you look right now, we're working with Kevin Kuchaver, who started a company called Flat Earth Productions in the early 90s. They did all the Xena and Hercules visual effects. Mm-hmm. And Kevin's an old-time visual effects artist. Some of his first work was done on Return of the Jedi. He did work on Big Trouble in Little China, Ghostbusters, all three of the RoboCop films. And it continues going on to modern times. He did work on Lost. And so he's working with Bernie Wrightson. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Bernie, but his work on Swamp Thing and then also Frankenstein, he's a legend in terms of comic illustration. And you might be familiar with, you guys know the 1981 movie Heavy Metal?
Yes.
Okay. So there was a segment in there on Captain Stern, which is like this anti-hero with all these. All right. So Bernie is the creator of Captain Stern. And Kevin sort of established a relationship with Bernie, and Kevin approached us about 6 months ago, and he said, I get this property. We want to develop Stern into an animated series. We want to pitch it, but we really need to pull it together. It's going to be 2 to 3 minutes long, fully animated, stereoscopic, dinosaurs and spaceships and all kinds of crazy things going on. Do you think we can do it here? And we absolutely, we can do it here. So if you walk out the door right now, you'll find Kevin wandering around directing the students, and the students here day and night plugging away on what's going to be a pitch for Captain Stern.
Yeah, we're talking to Steve Warner, Executive Director of the Dave School. Steve, I'm going to ask you to pass the phone over to Michelle. I'm going to talk to Michelle Corbin now. I have a couple of questions about the Dave School's admissions. So obviously it sounds like if you want to learn how to do, like again, what we geek out about, this is the place to go. Just like the Noma Schooler that we talked to, but this one is actually on the back lot in Universal. So again, that was Steve Warner. So now let's talk to Michelle Corbin, who's the Director of Admissions and Marketing at the Dave School. Michelle, welcome to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Hi guys, thank you for having me.
No problem. So let me ask you some admission questions about the Dave School. What types of students is the Dave School looking for?
Well, our biggest objective is to find critical thinkers and really good problem solvers that tend to spend about 10 hours a day on the computer or gaming. Okay. We like students who are really passionate about the industry. Mm-hmm. If they have fine art skills, it's wonderful, because especially when you get into character design, things along that line, it's always beneficial to understand human anatomy. But we take from a very broad spectrum of creative ability. We have students who are incredible artists. We have students who, use Photoshop, Illustrator. We take students from scratch, though. We're very, very keen on the curriculum to start from very good foundation. So even students who've been 3D modeling in other software or, feel like they're at an elite level, we take them back to the basics to ensure that they understand the foundations of modeling and animation, visual effects, because each of those components build on each other.
Yeah, if somebody wants to apply, what is the application process?
It's actually pretty simple. You work with a rep individually. There's an application on our website that you would fill out online. We do talk to the students and interview them to find out if this is really a good fit. We only accept up to 40 students per quarter, and that's it. We're a very small program. So it's not a great fit for everyone. So we really spend a lot of time with them to ensure that they're ready for this commitment. And I mean commitment by not only financially, but just the time-wise that they have to put into their 12 years. I mean, we have about the same amount of hours as a bachelor degree squished into 12 months. So the curriculum is very intense. you have to have a big commitment. And when I'm talking about 10 hours a day on a computer, your classroom hours are 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, but your project work can continue 5 to 7 hours additional every day. So it is a very big commitment to be here for a year.
Besides a commitment, what, if anything, would get an applicant denied admission to Dave?
Well, it depends on their attitude. It depends on their creative. We work hand in hand with them through, the entire process. If, we give feedback to students on their creative, or we ask for other, additional information, as long as they're energetic and professional and have a really good follow-up, we tend to really try and work with them. Those students who submit something and then aren't responsive and things along that line, we can kind of see, their motivation up front. But we do spend a lot of time with them on an individual basis. And we don't have large open houses. We do a lot of interviews on the phone, spend hours with them. We try to bring them on campus, if at all possible, so they can see the facility. We walk them into the classrooms so they can chat with the students. They can meet the instructors. They can see what the students are working on. And a lot of times we can gauge when they're on their tour, they light up. This place is just phenomenal. It's fascinating. And if they light up, and most of the time at the end of the tour, everybody thinks, can I start tomorrow? We've had a lot of instances where I've had family members come with, the student, it was their younger son, and I've had the mother 2 weeks later call me and say, I want to do this. I love it. So I've had parents, I've had siblings, I have husband and wives that come in on the tour and decide, this is just fascinating, it's amazing, and I want to be a part of this.
Now, are the tours available to the public, or is it just for prospective students?
No, we do tours for the public as well, but a lot of it is for prospective students. We do tours for schools, summer classes. We try to be open because, especially for, a younger generation, we want them to experience there's something out there. There is, if you're interested in this field, it's there, it's available, and it's rewarding. So we like to have the younger students come in. We actually open it up to Universal as well. When you have a VIP tour with Universal theme parks, they actually come into the school as well.
Yeah, again, that's Michelle Corbin. She's the Director of Admissions and Marketing at the Dave School. Michelle, I'm going to ask you to pass the phone over to Steve again one more time. Let me finish up with him.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
Hold on.
So again, that we have a link up on geekspeakeratoshow.com, but their website, if you want to go there directly, is daveschool.com. Like Michelle mentioned, the application process pretty easy. And in case any of you are on the fence about, I kind of want to do this.
Well, if you want to do it as your career, then I bet someone that's listening right now does want to apply for Dave School. I mean, I would.
Yeah. No, we need you here. So, Steve,
I'm going to work on movies.
Steve, welcome back. Steve Warner, Executive Director of the Dave School. Let me finish up with you, by asking you this show that we're doing. Like I said, we talked to a lot of schools and some students from other schools who are actually working in different industries as writers or as actors, as visual effects artists. If someone is out there, like I just mentioned, who is sort of on the fence, not really deciding whether they actually want to go ahead and do this, what kind of advice would you give to them?
Oh, that's a good question. If they're not sure that this is something they want to do, I wouldn't advise them to make a leap into it. I mean, this is something that has to be a full commitment, for each individual person. And it's really important to understand that education in terms of what we do, our whole goal, and I don't want to speak on behalf of the education community. I can only really speak for us and what we do here. Mm-hmm. Our goal is to really cut off the time that it's going to take any individual who really wants to do this. It's going to cut off the time that it takes to get into the industry. Somebody who wants to do this, who's creative and who's driven, they'll get there on their own. They will. So if somebody's looking at this and saying, man, I might want to do this, well, before you sink a year of your life and a ton of money into any institution, ours or anybody else's, sit back and really look at this, because you can get there with determination and drive on your own. The difference between that and coming to an institution or a school like ours is the amount of time that it's going to take. We're going to focus you. We're going to take all of the life lessons that we learned, and we're going to share those with you so that you don't make the same mistakes that we did. and we're going to show you the proper way to get things done, so that when you get out, you are prepared. 12 months to get into the industry and get that first step, that first job. But anybody who's not 100% committed, isn't fully sure, I would say step back, look online, get a book, read some online tutorials. There's a lot of good resources for people who want to be hobbyists and dabble. But coming here, I think, as Michelle mentioned, it's a real commitment, and we don't want to encourage people to haphazardly make a leap. We want to know, are you in this? Because it is 10, 12, 13 hours a day. And guess what, kids? When you're on the job, it's 10, 12, 13 hours a day. I was just speaking with one of our grads who's wrapping up production, and he said that they were working from 9 a.m. to 2 a.m., and sometimes that happens 7 days a week. So, if you're not sure up front, hold off.
Yeah, you definitely got to love this. So again, it's Steve Warner, Executive Director of the Dave School. No, Dave stands for Digital Animation and Visual Effects. And also Michelle Corbin, Director of Admission and Marketing at the Dave School. Thanks a lot to both of you. And I was going to ask you for some success stories, but you don't have to, because in just a few minutes, we're going to talk to a couple of graduates who came from the Dave School who are actually working. Matter of fact, one of them is working on a production that we love here, and we talk about since it came on. You'll find out in just a minute. But Steve, again, thanks a lot for coming on, and do keep in touch, and you're welcome back anytime.
Guys, thanks for the opportunity. We really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Steve. So, like I said, stay tuned for that. It's a show that you and I really like. I think you know what I'm talking about. So stay right there, and you guys will hear about it too.
The Geek Speak Radio Show will be right back.
What do you really know about the life of Walt Disney? Okay, you may know some things about Mickey and Disneyland. But if you think you know more than that, feel free to say something now. We thought so. If you want to get to know the Walt and Disney, the risk-taking and always inventive man behind the magic, visit the Walt Disney Family Museum, filled with interactive stories, movies, music, and original animation in the Presidio, San Francisco.
So how much do you know about Walt Disney? Everyone knows Mickey, but do you know his birthday? The name of Walt Disney's first animation studio? Here's a hint. It wasn't the Walt Disney Studios. Your knowledge of everything Disney will get you a family fun pack, which includes a visit to the Walt Disney Family Museum at the Presidio in San Francisco and a Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Just answer 4 Disney trivia questions and you may be one of the random weekly winners chosen throughout the month of November. The questions will be asked on the show and posted on the Geek Speak Radio Show Facebook page. Just post your correct answers and you may be the lucky winner of 4 tickets to the Walt Disney Family Museum and a special Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Plus, you'll get to see the new Disney Artists Holiday Wishes exhibition, making its debut this month. Get all the details at geekspeakradioshow.com.
Get ready to speak geek.
God bless the geek.
Now back to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
There, your music, just for you. Play this one earlier, too.
We're going to start dancing now?
Go ahead. Welcome back to the Geek Speak Radio Show. Too bad we're not a TV show. That would have been really funny.
Yeah, they actually do have a TV show.
You trying to dance?
Dancing. Yeah.
No,
it's called Dancing with the Stars.
That's why you're not on it?
That's why.
No, because you can't dance. Not because you're not a star.
Oh, both, right?
Anyway, welcome back to the Geek Speak Radio Show. Now, we're going to talk to 2 success stories from the Dave School. Just finished talking to the Dave Schools. Thanks again to Steve Warner and Michelle for coming on. But now, like I said, 2 success stories from the Dave School. One of them, the first one we're going to talk to, is Marcos de Barros. Marcos, welcome to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Oh, thank you very much, Henry. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. Marcos, you're a 3D modeler, shading artist at Pixamondo. So before we get to what you're doing now, tell us about when did you decide that this is what I want to do for a living? This is what I want to work at.
Well, since I was a kid, I always liked drawing and was always fascinated by movies and comic books and animes and etc. All that nerd stuff that we love. And then when I really decided to really pursue a career, like something that I really wanted to do, just fit the bill exactly. Like I can use everything that I always wanted to do, like artistically speaking, and the final result is just everybody enjoying a nice movie, and it's just magical to me to be part of this industry. So I always wanted to go after this career, and Dave School definitely helped me on that.
And when you finally decided, why the Dave School? Did you look at other schools before the Dave School?
Well, I was looking at other schools. One thing that I thought that was actually pretty cool about Dave's school was that was inside of the Universal property, so it was like always, I'm going to sneak out and go in a roller coaster or something. So I thought that it was actually kind of cool. But when I got to talk to the people that work there, like Steve and at the time Jeff Sheets and all those guys, I saw that they were just like me. Like they were just another guy that likes movies, and they working with this, and the program just sounded great, and very, very family like, everybody talks to everybody, and kind of a little community there, and just like I just felt like home, and it sounded just felt like right to go to Dave's school.
When you started at Dave, was the program tailored for you, or was it just a generic? Starting from the basics, so to speak.
Yeah, they start from the basics. I was never like a really computer guy. I never really knew the latest graphics card that's out there and make like jokes about hard drives or all that stuff that people do. And so when I went to Dave's school, they really taught me how to do everything from zero, from ground up. You start the very first day, you already have the software open in front of you, and you get to know like what a polygon is and all those things. And so it's very like for everybody that doesn't know anything about 3D, it's perfect. And you, like in a few weeks, you're already modeling and creating things in 3D that you will never think that you would be able to do it. So it's great.
Yeah. So you've gone obviously from the Dave School student to an actual working professional, which
yes,
is the way I introduced you. You're now a 3D modeler and what was it again? The
shading artist at Pixelmondo. Yeah,
at Pixelmondo. So tell us how you went from graduating to landing that first job.
Well, I actually I have to say thanks to Dave's school even about that, because they were the ones that lined up the interviews with Pixelmondo. They brought somebody from Pixelmondo into Dave's school to do some interviews with the graduates, and I was one of them. And they were hiring people to work in Burbank and here in Santa Monica where I work. So I showed them a demo reel, and this was in January, and I graduated in December. So in February, I already had a job. So I had 1 month pretty much unemployed after Dave's school, and then I was already working. So it was pretty good.
Well, that's unheard of, especially graduating from a place like that. I mean, that's good because, with everyone having a hard time. But I want to know, how's your experience at Pixelmondo?
Man, I absolutely love here. Seriously, it's a great place. Like the very first movie, as I told you guys before, I'm a comic book fan, and my very first movie was The Green Lantern.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, I'm gonna work on Green Lantern, doing what I love, and it's just a great team. Everybody here, like it's almost like family. Everybody gets along, and I can come to work wearing my flip-flops if I want, which is great. and the projects here are just getting better and better. Like I already worked on other two movies. I worked on Journey 2, The Mystery Island. I worked on Hugo from Martin Scorsese that's coming out now on Thanksgiving. We have Snow White and the Huntsman. We have for TV we have season 2 of Game of Thrones coming up. And Terra Nova that's already on. So it's just overwhelming how many nice things that Pixelmondo has given to me since I started working here. So I just love it.
So it's like geek heaven to you.
Yeah, it's geek heaven, exactly. Geek heaven. You just said the exact term for it.
And on Green Lantern, what exactly did you do?
Well, the Green Lantern, I modeled the yellow ring is my model. I can say that it's mine. The big yellow ring environment, so like when the villain on the beginning of the movie, the Planet Riot area, that was my work, and not just my work, but I was part of the team that did that work, and modeling like skeletons when their souls get sucked by parallax. So that was one of my things, and like et cetera. There's many assets that I modeled for that movie, so that was very nice.
Is there any other work that we can say, hey, Marcos did that, especially for Hugo coming up?
Yes, Hugo. Hugo, it's something that Hugo. It's something that I was not expecting to be so interesting. Not because the movie is interesting, but you expect for a modeler or a shading artist to be like, oh, spaceships and aliens and all that. But on Hugo, like what I did that was very interesting was to model environments in like the train station inside where Hugo is, or like where you see the movie, like the trailer, you see that there's a train station there. So things for the train station to make it look 100% realistic. That was a big challenge, and my work is right there. So if you guys like the train station and other environments on Hugo, I cannot say much to not ruin the story, but you guys are going to see my work pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Hugo because I've read the book, The Invention of Hugo Cabret, and also I'm going to tease everybody now. We are going to have Chloe Moretz, who's in the movie. She's going to come on again right before the movie comes out.
I'm excited.
Are you guys excited for it? Like, I got the pleasure to meet Brian Selznick a few weeks ago here.
Yeah, if you're going to have him also.
Yeah, he was very nice, very excited too about the movie.
Yeah, let me ask you, Marcus. Without I'm not going to ask. On this show, we don't like to talk about spoilers, so we don't want to give anything away either. But those of you who have read the book will know what I'm talking about. But we're not going to talk about spoilers yet. But what I want to ask you, Marcos, is as the person who worked on the effects, is it different working on a movie filmed in 3D rather than the one that's post-converted to 3D?
It's different. It is different. I think that... I think that, for example, when you do the conversions, of course, the conversions give you a lot of control over the 3D, because if you're like converting something, you have control about how, like, the depth of that thing compared to, how it is. When we get the footage like already in 3D, sometimes we have our limitations, but it's not so different from actually a 2D to 3D conversion. We really have to take care of, like, when we're creating things in computer graphics, in CG, everything goes like as thinking about how it's going to look in 3D already. And with the softwares that we have today, like 3ds Max and Maya and all those things, for you to really translate what was filmed in 3D, like afterwards, it's very easy. So it's not so different. I don't really see like that huge of a difference, personally.
Yeah, and I know this is your livelihood, but do you see 3D as a passing fad, or do you think it's here to stay?
Well, that's a dangerous question, but I'm going to give my honest answer. I think that it's in a few years, this phenomenon might disappear. I think that everybody's going to have the option of having 3D, but I don't think that it's going to be that whole 2D in selected theaters anymore. Like, it's happening now. You see movies like you used to see things 3D in selected theaters, but now inverted this whole thing. Now you can, in a few theaters, you have in 2D. But when I talk to people and I ask what do you think about 3D, some people are getting very tired of it, because some movies they just don't care artistically why the 3D is going to be there, but they just want to throw things at your face for you to, like, oh my God, the ball almost hit my nose. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, for example, Avatar, that the 3D is absolutely amazing and flawless and, makes you feel integrated to that story. It's just like, oh, let's make a bird fly towards the camera. And, wow, 3D. So I think that this might disappear in a few years. At least, personally, that's what I think.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it's better when like you said, with Avatar and some of the Resident Evil movies, when the movie is actually filmed in 3D and they take advantage of. They make you feel like you're in the movie.
Yeah, it's not a gimmick.
Yeah. So again, we're talking to Marcos de Barros. He is a 3D modeler and shading artist at Pixelmondo, and you mentioned some of the projects that are coming up. When you go see Hugo, remember you heard him here first.
Yeah.
And so, Marcus, thanks a lot. And one last thing before we let you go is this show we're talking to a lot of up and coming artists and people who in schools who show you everybody how to do this stuff. If anybody is listening to this show and is still, even after all these interviews, is still sort of on the fence about, I don't know if I really want to go through and be an artist or not, what kind of advice would you give them, either for or against?
Well, my advice is give yourself a chance and give the industry a chance as well. I mean, when you really don't have a real experience to really like compare with, like to see if it's good or bad, you really don't know. You're just wondering. You're just like, I guess this, I guess that. You might find the industry a wonderful place for you to work, and people might find you a wonderful artist as well. And when you see you're like pretty much sucked in this whole industry, that it's a wonderful industry. So, I mean, if you're wondering about first things, you need to go to school, you need to study and get your skills up and running. And the industry is out there. They're really hiring people, and jobs are out there for you. So go for it.
Do you have a web portfolio where we could check out your work and your demos?
Yeah, I'm finishing up my personal website, but for now, if you guys want to go to marcosdebarros.blogspot.com, you'll find my demo reel, a little resume there. Sorry, it's a little simple for now, but it's coming up.
What was the blogspot again called?
Marcos de Barros.
Cool. I'll make sure to write that down. Sounds good. And anything else that you wanted to promote and plug?
Well, if you guys want to check it out, the Pixamondo website as well, it's pixamondo.com. For people that might be thinking about in the future working and looking for a company, you can apply online and check it out what Pixamondo is up to. It's a wonderful place to work. And about Dave School, I definitely suggest, if you are thinking about going to school, Dave School is a wonderful place. You're going to find like a lot of people, cool people there, and you're definitely going to learn. If you want to learn, if you go for it, you're going to learn and become a professional in a year. So it's very good.
Okay, thanks, Marcos. Again, all the links will be up in our links section for his blogspot, the Dave School, and Pixamondo. Everything else will be on there. So, Marcos, thanks a lot. And,
thank you very much.
And we'll talk to you, hopefully, when Hugo comes out and some of your other projects come out. You're more than welcome to come on and talk about all the effects and everything that goes on behind the stuff that we all geek out about.
Absolutely. Feel free to give me a call, and it'll be my pleasure to talk to Geek Speak again.
Okay, Marcos, thanks a lot. Take it easy.
Thank you. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So there you go, Marcos de Barros. He is he
works on all the TV shows that we love, movies.
Yes, and somebody else, co-worker and old classmate of his, will be up next.
Oh, nice.
The Geek Speak Radio Show. We'll be right back.
What do you really know about the life of Walt Disney? Okay, you may know some things about Mickey and Disneyland, but if you think you know more than that, feel free to say something now. We thought so. If you want to get to know the Walt and Disney, the risk-taking and always inventive man behind the magic, visit the Walt Disney Family Museum, filled with interactive stories, movies, music, and original animation in the Presidio, San Francisco.
So how much do you know about Walt Disney? Everyone knows Mickey, but do you know his birthday? The name of Walt Disney's first animation studio? Here's a hint. It wasn't the Walt Disney Studios. Your knowledge of everything Disney will get you a family fun pack, which includes a visit to the Walt Disney Family Museum at the Presidio in San Francisco and a Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Just answer 4 Disney trivia questions and you may be one of the random weekly winners chosen throughout the month of November. The questions will be asked on the show and posted on the Geek Speak Radio Show Facebook page. Just post your correct answers and you may be the lucky winner of 4 tickets to the Walt Disney Family Museum and a special Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Plus, you'll get to see the new Disney Artists Holiday Wishes exhibition, making its debut this month. Get all the details at geekspeakradioshow.com.
You're listening to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Now back to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Hello, we're back.
We're back.
Welcome back to the Geek Speak Radio Show. Ready to finish it off, but still got a few more things to do because you weren't here in the beginning because you were picking your book.
Mm-hmm.
Not your nose, your book. We'll do that later for the Geek Speak Radio Show Book Club. Yes, he does have a book finally. Two weeks in a row. That must be a record.
Yeah.
Halloween, huh? You stayed home?
That's pretty much what it was. And watching horror movies, but...
Not The Walking Dead?
And yeah, that too.
We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Right now, we're going to continue the conversation with somebody else who came from the Dave School. Just finished talking to Marcos. Really cool guy. Obviously, you guys heard that. A lot of really cool projects, stuff that we geek out about. Mm-hmm. Somebody else who works on stuff that we geek out about, especially one show in particular. That would be Shawn Ewashko. He does composting at Pixamondo. That doesn't mean that he takes stuff to the green garbage can. You wanted to ask him, so let's welcome him first. Shawn, welcome to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Awesome.
So
awesome.
Since you wanted to know, Romo, go ahead and take it.
So what's your position that you do?
I'm a compositor. Basically, what that is I get CG elements from my CG department, and it's my job to put them into the scene. For instance, dinosaurs. It would be my job to put them into the scene and make them and integrate them to where they look like they're realistic and photoreal. That's the easiest, definition of my job that I can give.
Layman's way to describe it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we are going to talk to one of the shows that you work on, a big show. But before we do that, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to before you went to the Dave School. Is what made you decide that, hey, this is some cool stuff that I'm watching here? What made you decide to create all the cool stuff?
You want the truth?
Yes. Can we handle it?
Actually, I was going to say that too. Can we handle it?
Actually, I think you guys can. It's kind of nerdy though. So here we go. Basically, I was a huge Halo fan. The video game of Halo, and a company called Rooster Teeth started doing machinima, and they started doing some cool computer graphic things with their show, and that's kind of what spawned me to get into CG. I mean, above and beyond the fact that I loved movies and television shows that had a lot of special effects, I really wanted to get into and figure out how to do it, because I saw these guys who were very similar to myself. They were doing it and having a lot of fun with it. So that's basically what prompted me to start looking into computer graphics and the visual effects industry, and what's prompted me to pursue that and actually look into the Dave School and other schools like that as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, actually, is what schools besides the Dave School, what other schools did you look into?
Well, while I was in Orlando at the time, so I toured Full Sail, and I also toured the Academy of Arts down there, which both are great schools. But sometimes when you're interviewing for places and taking tours of places, you kind of have to evaluate. It's not so much of a status of a school, or a place or anywhere that you're touring. It's more of how you feel when you're there,
Yeah.
and the environment that you walk into. So
yeah, it just felt right. In other words.
Yeah, absolutely. It was when I walked into the Dave School and I took the tour. I mean, it was really laid back. It was very straightforward. They were very blunt with me and upfront about everything, and it felt like home. They were really friendly. Everybody was really, really laid back and really helpful. So I really owe a lot to the Dave School. So you probably hear that while I'm speaking.
Yeah, we just heard that from Marco, as a matter of fact. We just spoke to him right before you, and he said the same thing too. It feels like family there.
Right, absolutely. It's definitely a family environment, I mean, and this isn't really, I mean, everybody at the Dave School knows how I feel about them, but, the Dave School has been with me since before I even began there, there were 6 months prior to me actually getting accepted and going through the Dave School was me trying to get in there, and they had helped me out tremendously throughout the whole process of entering there, and then the whole time I was there, I was always taken care of, always.
Yeah, and any questions?
Oh, I was just going to ask how.
You had that look on your face, that's why.
Well, look. No, but go ahead.
No, go ahead and ask your question.
No, I wasn't. So once you finished with Dave School, how was it, the transition to getting into Pixamondo?
My transition to Pixamondo was super smooth. I interviewed at the Dave School. The Dave School set up all the interviews for us. I interviewed there, and probably within the next few weeks, I was already headed out to LA, and here I am. I mean, they pretty much set up everything for me. Like I said, the Dave School was a tremendous asset on so many fronts, because I myself, I've been a performer, and I'm really good at networking. I'm good at doing things of this sort, and which is really, really important in this industry. And it's really important that you network and you get out there and you get your name out there and you talk to people, all kinds of people, because that's how I was able to because I was like that, I was able to take what the tape school was giving me, which was a great interview opportunity, and I was able to run with it because of the connections that they had to bring those interviewers in.
Yeah, it seems to be a repeating theme here.
It's
Who you know, not just what you know.
Absolutely. It's definitely what I've learned from my transition is, most importantly, throughout my whole transition, personality and the positivity that I brought to the table is what really has been springboarding my career just in, the almost year that I've left the school right now.
Yeah, so again, we're talking to Shawn.
I still consider this the transitional period because it's still within the year, so sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. I was going to say, we're talking to Shawn Ewashko. He's a compositor at Pixelmondo. He gave you the layman's terms, what exactly that means, Romo. And one of the big shows that I was talking about is Terra Nova. It's one of your big projects right now, right, Shawn?
Yes, it is, Terra Nova.
And what exactly do you do on Terra Nova?
Basically, like I said, I'm a compositor. So what normally happens on Terra Nova, for instance, we have a very new pipeline in our industry, so we do things a little bit differently here. But basically what it consists of is I'll get assigned a bunch of shots, and I don't know if this is actually going to answer your question, so let me, I guess basically my prime job would be to take all of the elements that I get from other departments in Pixelmondo and bring them to final.
Okay. Yeah, that kind of makes sense there.
Well, like I said, it's kind of hard to explain in layman's terms without having visuals, but basically, I will get models from people. We'll have a modeler. It'll go through a modeling department and creature effects.
Uh-huh.
Our modeler will build the creatures, get them looking right, make sure they're textured, make sure they're as realistic as possible, and they have to kind of envision what I'm going to do with it at the end of the process. So they have to build their models to that specification as well. At that point, after the models are built, they'll go into animation, which is obviously it's just that they get animated to whether they're walking or moving or falling down or jumping. Beyond that, it would go through another dynamics department. If there's any type of interaction between the CG dinosaur, we might need CG rocks or CG trees as well. So it'll go through that. At the same time, it goes through animation. Once they smooth all that out, I take all of those elements and I take the actual footage plates that were shot from our client, and by compositing, I composite that all together and bring it to that final look to what you guys see on TV week after week.
Okay, I obviously I come from the audio side, so what it sounds like to me, I'm going to compare it to this, is when you're recording a song,
mm-hmm.
you lay down all the tracks, and then you mix them together and you make the final mix, which is that basically what
Absolutely. I would be the mixer, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, so that makes more sense.
Say sweetens the sound, or sweetens the image in this case.
Right.
Yeah,
right. It's my job to make their work look optimal.
Yeah, so you don't actually create the models, right? That's somebody else that does that.
I do not. That is a total department that does the models.
Yeah, because on the show, like I said, I've been loving Terra Nova since it started. I only had one complaint, and that was in the beginning. The dinosaurs looked a little too cartoony. And part of that, like I said, was when you have Steven Spielberg's name attached to it, you know what it's going to be compared to right away.
Absolutely.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
Jurassic Park.
But the last 3 episodes, they've actually been getting better. And do you have any idea why that is? Or have you even noticed that?
Yes, absolutely. What normally happens is when we finish shots, when I finish my shots and they go to the client sees them. At that point, they go through a DI process, which is they get recolored and re-edited and put into the cut. So what you guys are seeing is what their colorist is putting out.
Mm. Okay.
So they actually change the color of certain things the way that they prefer it. So what you're seeing isn't necessarily always what we're giving them.
Okay.
Because they have a specific look that they want.
Yeah, so you did notice then, like I said, especially in the pilot and the second episode that it looked like to me.
Absolutely.
I said on the air, it looked to me like it was Photoshop.
The visual effects they do for the Sci-Fi Channel, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Right. We heard a lot of things like that, and a lot of people were a little on the fence of how they felt about it. But when it comes with a new show, especially a show with the size of Terra Nova, there are a lot of things that needs to get ironed out, and a lot of that stuff doesn't get ironed out until at least the 4th, 5th, and 6th episode. We're talking color things. We're talking about the way things are edited, the way episodes are shown, what's shown previously. They might shoot episode 9, but show that as episode 3. So there are a lot of different things that happen after the fact as well.
What's your overall experience?
That kind of changes it.
Okay, what's your overall experience with working on the show, and what do you think of it right now?
I think Terra Nova is in my own personal opinion, I think Terra Nova is a monumental accomplishment. We've done the biggest visual effects show that TV's ever seen. I think we've done it successfully. I think it looks great. The show is amazing. I myself watch it every week, not just because I work on it, but because I genuinely enjoy it. I think it's a good show. It's a family show. It's for the kids. You can watch it with your wife, with your kids. You can watch it by yourself. It's a cool show to watch. I think they really were onto something, and my experience within Terra Nova and the whole time has just been amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Really great overall.
That's exactly how I watch it with my family, with my son, 8-year-old son, because you love dinosaurs when you're 8 years old. So how can you not watch it with him? But right. I'm liking everything. I like from day one. Like I did a review about the pilot. I love the characters. I right away cared about them. That's the most important thing in any movie, TV show, whatever it is. You got to care about the characters, and I did.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The minor complaint, like I mentioned, also was just the dinosaurs, but it's been getting fixed the last few episodes. Now, without giving too much away, is there more dino action coming in the later episodes?
The same thing.
Well, I'll tell you this: we're going to be bringing new dinosaurs almost every episode. So you're definitely going to see at least a new dino coming up in the next episode or so, and we're going to keep bringing them. They're going to get more awesome. I can't really reveal too much, but you guys are going to be blown away with some of the later episodes and what we're bringing to the table in terms of the size of the visual effects that we're doing. And just the all around of what these effects encompass. When you see them, and a lot of the times, our job really is to make you not notice the visual effects. That's technically my job. My job is, if you notice something, then I didn't do my job properly. Okay. The problem with working on a show like this is that obviously dinosaurs don't exist.
Right.
So it's hard to do that as well, but I think that what we've done, especially with these episodes that you guys are going to start to see, is we took everything that we learned from the beginning of the season and we've created a process that it really hits it on the head. Like, everything is super clean and it's super, it's in there. It's in your face. These effects look good. They're designed well. And I really think that people are going to love it. I really think you guys are going to totally be blown away by the rest of the season.
Yeah, looking forward to it for sure. So we're talking to Shawn Ewashko. He's a compositor at Pixamondo. And Shawn, is there anything that you, besides Terra Nova, that you want to work on, or you can tell us about, or anything that you really, really would like to work on?
Let's see. I mean, me myself, I'm more of a television kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the TV workflow as opposed to features. So I would say that I would like to probably work on anything that's visual effects heavy. I can't see myself really wanting to do a standard kind of visual effects show. I want to continually do sci-fi shows or shows that are very effects heavy, and that I can actually get in there and create some stuff and make things really look good.
Yeah, and like I said, definitely the stuff that we geek out about on this show.
Right. I want to do like the stuff that the remakes of things. I don't know what's going to be in the TV pipeline in the future, but there's a lot of things coming out. They just saw Wolfman just came out, and they're bringing back some things from the 80s and some things that we might like. or that you guys are familiar with from when you were kids. And those are the kind of things that I'm interested in working on, and hopefully we'll get the chance to work on in the future.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, and one last thing. We're talking on the show to a lot of, you just talked to Marcos and a lot of the schools who show everybody how to do this stuff. Anybody that wants to get into being a compositor or visual effects artist or writer or anything, animator or anything,
Yeah.
what kind of advice would you give them if they want to do that?
The best advice that I can give, and this is what I give people all the time, is you have to get out and work. And what I mean by work is network. You have to get out. You have to meet people. You have to, if you want to do something, especially something like visual effects, you have to get your knowledge base from somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And the best way to do that is to learn what other people have done and follow in what they did. And that's kind of the way that I took. But network, know people, get out there, and if you want to be a visual effects artist and you're in school, or you just got out of school, or maybe you're self-taught, make your demo reel, get on LinkedIn, get on Production Hub, get on Facebook and Twitter and all kinds of, just get out there, get your name out there, meet people, show people your stuff, take the criticism with a grain of salt, Yeah. We're all artists and we all have our own interpretations of things. And I don't like something that you like, and he don't like something that she likes. But at the end of the day, you'll have to take all of these, constructive criticisms that people are giving you, and make yourself stronger with it, And that's what's really important. Networking and learning from the things that you learn through networking with other artists and people in the industry.
Yeah, definitely need some thick skin to go along with that also.
Especially being in LA.
You definitely need thick skin.
Especially in the industry like that.
Yeah. So again, I'm talking to Shawn Ewashko, compositor at Pixamondo. Again, when you watch Terra Nova, you can say, hey, Shawn worked on that.
That's right. That's right.
So Shawn, thanks a lot. I wish you continued success, and you're welcome back anytime on the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to being back with you guys maybe sometime on the next project.
Anytime. Just give us a call.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Shawn. Okay, so take a break. When we come back, we'll finally, I've been teasing it all morning, but finally talk about book selection.
Nice.
The Geek Speak Radio Show will be right back.
What do you really know about the life of Walt Disney? Okay, you may know some things about Mickey and Disneyland, but if you think you know more than that, feel free to say something now. We thought so. If you want to get to know the Walt and Disney, the risk-taking and always inventive man behind the magic, visit the Walt Disney Family Museum, filled with interactive stories, movies, music, and original animation in the Presidio, San Francisco.
So how much do you know about Walt Disney? Everyone knows Mickey, but do you know his birthday? The name of Walt Disney's first animation studio? Here's a hint. It wasn't the Walt Disney Studios. Your knowledge of everything Disney will get you a family fun pack, which includes a visit to the Walt Disney Family Museum at the Presidio in San Francisco and a Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Just answer 4 Disney trivia questions and you may be one of the random weekly winners chosen throughout the month of November. The questions will be asked on the show and posted on the Geek Speak Radio Show Facebook page. Just post your correct answers and you may be the lucky winner of 4 tickets to the Walt Disney Family Museum and a special Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Plus, you'll get to see the new Disney Artists Holiday Wishes exhibition, making its debut this month. Get all the details at geekspeakradioshow.com.
You don't need a radio to listen to this radio show. This is the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Welcome to the Geek Speak Radio Show. I'm Romo. He's Henry. Now, Henry.
What?
I don't want you to get mad at me, but when I was in the library, I didn't read a book. I was stuck in the graphic novel section, so I don't have a book ready for you for the book club. I know that graphic novels are not supposed to be at all included, but, I mean, what could he say?
Graphic violence, you like that?
Yeah.
Good, you're about to feel some right now.
I have lawyers.
You almost made a record. 2 weeks in a row, you actually would have had a book.
Well, I mean...
Listeners, you let everybody down. The listeners were waiting for Romo's pick for November.
Hey, they could be... Next week I'll have one for sure. I mean, I'm sorry, but I can't help graphic novels and comic books.
Was?
What?
record a long time ago. Not world record, but a record that you would put on a record player.
45.
Remember when they would break and what would happen to play over and over?
And skip.
Yeah. In case you don't remember, you just heard it right now from Romo.
Skip.
No, same thing we heard like what, 3 weeks. Yeah, I'll get one. I'll have one. I'll have one.
It's a broken record. I get what you mean.
Now, then, I guess I'll have to do another one. But I tell you what, kind of cheating myself also because a few weeks ago I mentioned the Last Apprentice book.
Yeah.
I started with the prequel book and also with the second one because I couldn't find the first one in the library. I found the first one out. I'm on the second one now. Third one actually, Night of the Soul Stealer.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna pick that one. And I think you're gonna have to find a book. Seriously, wipe the smile off my face. But seriously, you're gonna have to find a book because I'm hooked on this series. I'm gonna go. There's 8 books. I'm gonna read all 8 of them in order. But this one, I'm gonna put the Last Apprentice, Night of the Soul Stealer, book number 3 in the Last Apprentice series by Joseph Delaney. I'm gonna use that one as the Geek Speak Radio Show book club pick for November.
Good.
And I'm gonna put up a link on that one. You all out there, you can do Romo's job for him. You can suggest any book. Again, sci-fi, fantasy, horror, no graphic novels. Could be an autobiography because
there is a lot of people that are graphic novels.
I do have also 2 biographies waiting for me. I have one about C.S. Lewis, one about George Lucas. It's called Droid Maker. So as soon as I finish with the Last Apprentice series,
you know what? You just gave me an idea. I might just read Stanley's biography. No, Stanley's biography. That'd be kind of. There you go. I'll read that next week.
Excelsior. Yes, we'll do that when Roma will do that. And like I said, if you guys want to suggest anything, it doesn't have to be a biography, but it does have to be in that genre and sci-fi, fantasy, horror, or a mix of those books at geekspeakradioshow.com, and we will talk about them. If you're not that shy, and if you want to,
you call them up.
We might have you come on and have you talk with us about your book selection.
Sounds like a good plan.
So again, it's books at geekspeakradioshow.com. You can suggest any book you want, and we'll link it up on there. Did you have fun at Winchester Mystery House?
Yeah, I did.
It feels like it was years ago.
It was a lot of fun.
But you actually didn't get to go when producer Damien and I went.
No, I know my experience was different than yours because I just realized we were the first people to go in through the maze.
Yes. And it wasn't that scary because we did have Catherine Cobbs and Katie, 2 of the maze designers, with us.
So it was kind of intimidating to have them right next to us because they were just like...
But to me, it was kind of spoilery because Catherine kept saying, "Now turn this way because something's going to be there." And I said, "Shh, let me jump," because I wanted to jump. And it did make me jump.
So how was it this weekend?
Much, much more intense. And again, congratulations to Lion Bellamy Chu from Hercules. He won the Our House is Scarier Than Yours contest, and he did go there.
A lot of our Twitter winners were there as well, right?
Yeah, we met them, and we went in actually with a few of them, and it was fun watching them jump and cry. And
so how many times
they were crying? By the way,
so how many times did he go back in line?
They went a few times. Damien and I, we only went once.
Was he scared?
The first time. Damien, yes, he was so scared he actually started speaking tongues.
What did he do when he was there? Because they're in the maze. Remember that the one part where you have...
We can give it out now. It's over.
Yeah.
So you can go
but in the maze, there's I don't know what it is, though. It's like you're walking through this... Help me what it is. It's
a movie.
It feels like you're in
horror
a movie.
Because
they're using your perception of loneliness and being stuck somewhere. But it's like 2 inflatable bubbles and you're walking right through it.
It's kind of like, not like John Carpenter's thing, but it's kind of like the original Thing. You never really see the Thing on screen. But it's the same thing with a Blair Witch Project, which was mentioned earlier in the show. You never saw the witch. You think you did at the end, but you never saw the witch. But it was your mind playing tricks on you. The sounds you heard, the atmosphere that it set up. That's kind of what this maze did. The Curse of Sarah Winchester maze, and there's 2 mazes within a maze. A little wooden one in the beginning where you're going around really tight corners and you think something's going to jump out, but nothing does. But your mind creates that tension. Then at the end, it's on the videos that we did. We don't see it, but we hear you saying, "Okay, guys, it's getting a little bit scary here." It is very dark, and you think something's going to jump out at you. It's your mind creating that tension.
Well, I know Damien had a lot of fun getting scared when he was walking through. What is it though? It's like
the long tunnel stretchy thing.
It's a tunnel, but it's like inflated tunnel, and that you're walking right through, and you're like you're walking through like
Yeah, I told some of our Twitter followers while we were waiting in line that if they're claustrophobic, there's one part that you might not like in there.
You feel really claustrophobic, but you're being pushed like you have to go through like a tunnel.
Yeah.
But it's
the way I described it is, remember the old what do you call those things? Where it had water in it. It was a rubber tube. It had water in it, and you tried to hold on to it, but it would just keep slipping out of your hand.
Yeah,
it's like you're going through the middle of that thing. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, there you go. I know what you mean.
And like I said, Damien was scared so much that he actually started speaking in tongues. He's not here. He's out producing. What else would a producer do? But the couple of the actors, a lot of the, and when you and I went, there were only about, I know that not all 60 actors were there in the maze.
No, there was like half of them.
This time, there were more than 60 probably, because they literally came out of everywhere. And I made the mistake of thinking that, I've been through this, I know where they're going to be. They weren't there, but they came out of totally unexpected places.
Did you scare Damien?
I didn't, but the two of the actors actually targeted Damien and another one of the young ladies in our group. But Damien, he was targeted by, remember the Chicken Man? You guys hear him on the YouTube, the one that says, "Get out, get out." That's the Chicken Man, because he's got feathers on. I know most of you had your eyes closed when you went through the maze, but he actually had some feathers, really cool makeup on him. He came right up to Damien and he said, "What's the matter, boy? Chicken?" And Damien. There was also remember when you go through the house where you see Sarah Winchester performing a seance. There were some Indians, all gray, because they were supposed to be ghosts of Indians. The one of them actually followed us outside, and he kept tailing Damien.
What?
And one of our listeners was with me in the back, and we saw him, and Damien, was just walking around. He thought it was me because he either stayed close to our listeners in front or really close to us in the back. And I let him go by himself, and the Indian was there following him, tailing him. And he felt somebody there, but he thought it was me. And so the listener and I stayed back, and our listener, he said, "Whoa, buddy, Damien's going to jump in a second." And so, Damien turned around, I guess, to say something to me because we were watching him. And
the guy's right there.
And just said, "Oh," and Damien started speaking in tongues. He said he was going to say a dirty word, but he stopped himself in the middle, and instead it came out, "Oh, yeah."
Sound like a Native American right there.
Yeah, but it was like that through the whole thing. But at the end, after he calmed down, he loved it.
That's good.
And everyone, not just our listeners, not just you guys who won, but all of you had rave reviews for the Curse of Sarah Winchester Maze. There's some other attractions all over the Bay Area, but Curse of Sarah Winchester Maze took the prize.
It was a lot of fun doing that contest with them.
Yeah, again, thanks a lot to Shozo Kagoshima and Lindsay Huffman for not only inviting us to go the first time around, and also for giving us tickets to share with all of you guys.
Yeah.
And now we're done. My favorite time of the year is over. You can come out of the table or wherever you were hiding.
And celebrate the holidays, and we got the Christmas lights
and in the spirit
Christmas
of giving.
Trees. Yes,
we're gonna give.
Yeah, we are.
We're gonna start with we're gonna make it family friendly now too. This one, Curse of Sarah Winchester Maze. Yeah, everybody likes to get scared, but it was a little too intense. Matter of fact, too intense for anybody under 12.
But this is right now. This is a really family friendly contest.
You can't get more family friendlier. Than Disney.
Yeah.
And no, we're not sending you to Disneyland. That'll be
They all wish
later.
they can.
There's a tease. The Walt Disney Museum here in San Francisco, at the Presidio in San Francisco, as a matter of fact.
The people we interviewed last week.
Yeah, very, very cool, very informative place. There's producer Damien now. Hold on. Before we go with the Walt Disney, producer Damien, come in here.
Yo.
We were just talking about our adventures at the Winchester Mystery House and how you were so scared that you started speaking tongues.
Yes, I was. It was very scary. It was, Henry, I was actually right
I just told him the story right now. You were out producing, but I just told him the story right now. How the Chicken Man targeted you, and there was that ghost Indian.
Yeah, and that ghost Indian, he was targeting me. I didn't realize it. I actually thought you were behind me that whole time. And it was at one point throughout the tour, we went through that tunnel.
Yeah, that's what Romo was talking about.
And I couldn't even see
What happened
nothing.
with you? Did you get scared?
I got really scared, and I was actually holding on to the person in front of me.
Then did you ever get lost? I was thinking, if you were to go through the tunnel and do 10 turns, you'd get lost. You wouldn't even know what direction
or
you
dizzy.
were. Yeah, or you don't even know what direction if you're going in from the beginning or where to get out.
Yeah. It was really scary though. But it was fun.
went.
It was fun overall though. It was actually my first haunted house that I had been to in a
really?
long time.
Yeah, I wish I went with you guys. I mean, this is a really, really fun maze. I mean, mystery maze. I mean, everything that you get, you're excited. It's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
You can't ask for any.
Well, let's tell
more.
you, because a lot of the listeners were asking for Romo because they wanted to meet you, but you were actually at another event that was going on for. It's actually, I don't know why you did it on the.
It was Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah,
festival.
that's actually November 1st. I don't know why.
Hey,
we signed you up for the weekend.
I don't know either.
Oh well, next year we'll all stay together.
Yeah,
because I do know for a fact Fright Nights is coming back again to the Winchester Mystery House, so I can't wait for next year.
Yeah,
we'll all be there again. But again, like I was saying, forward to now we're going to do the Walt Disney Family Museum. If you haven't been there, of course it's about Disney, but not about Disneyland or Disney movies, although they're in there because how can you not talk about Disneyland and the movies? But this is more about Walt Disney, the man, his story, his life, his struggles, believe it or not. He did have some struggles going back with the theme that it's been running through today. You do have to you have to struggle. You have to go through some failures before you become a success.
And he's a big success.
Yeah, but again, and it's highlighted in the Walt Disney Family Museum. There were some failures, and you'll see him there. Mm-hmm. But it's a happy ending, like most Disney stories. Does have a happy ending because we know what he accomplished in the end.
Yeah.
So if you haven't been there, even better. If you have, you're going to like this too. We're going to give away a family fun pack all the entire month of November for the Walt Disney Family Museum. One thing, like the Winchester Mystery House, this is only for San Francisco Bay Area residents because neither us nor the Walt Disney Family Museum will give you guys transportation. We can't fly you here. Even if you flap our wings really hard, we still can't fly you here.
No, there's no magic carpets here.
We can't provide transportation. We can't provide transportation or hotel for you here when you get
that's
here.
a cheap way to stay.
Yeah, so
for the night.
It is open again just for San Francisco Bay Area residents, and it's worth the trip. I mean, some of our listeners for the Winchester thing, came as far away as the Sacramento area. They loved it. They said it was well worth the trip over there. So this one's same thing. It is well worth the trip, especially if you're a big Disney fan.
Yes. And so what do we have to do to win the tickets?
Smile nicely and ask politely.
And beg.
Or, easier way, every week we're going to give you 4 trivia questions. And they're going to be obviously about Walt Disney, the man. Mm-hmm. Those of you who know the Disney movies backwards and forwards, the cartoons, that's fine. But this is about Walt Disney, the person. I'm going to ask you some simple ones, but I'm also going to have some tricky ones and a lot of them that lead back to the Walt Disney Family Museum.
Oh, nice!
So you'll see a lot of the answers will actually lead you to things the displays that are in the Walt Disney Family Museum.
Are we going to give any clues throughout the show?
Well, watch it over there. Don't break my studio.
Hey, that sounded really cool.
What did you say?
Are we going to give any clues throughout the show for them to listen and be like, oh,
hints?
All right, yeah, hints.
No.
All right.
We're not going to make it that. It's going to be easy, but not that easy. So, tell you what. We're running out of show here. Before we do, let us ask this week's 4 questions. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Don't answer it. I know Romo likes to jump the gun.
I'm not going to keep my mouth shut.
So, question number 1. Again, this is for a family fun pack, which includes 4 tickets to the Walt Disney Family Museum and a Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. First question. Name Walt Disney's 2 brothers and sister. I know there's 3, but everybody knows Roy Disney already, so he doesn't really count because even if you don't research this, everybody knows Roy Disney. But he did have 2 brothers and 1 sister, so name them. Second question, true or false? Walt Disney joined the Navy in 1918 at the age of 18.
I'm not saying anything.
You were about to answer. I saw you. Question number 3. Who would bring Walt Disney drawing tablets and crayons when he was living in Marceline, Missouri? And question number 4. What was the name of Walt Disney's first animation studio?
Wow, those are really hard questions.
I mean, if you claim to be a big Walt Disney fan, not really. You should know. Now, so those are the questions again. Am I going to repeat them? No, because I'm going to post them on the Facebook page. They'll be on there, and you go to the Facebook page, post your answers on there, and we'll pick a random winner. But you have to have the right answers, of course. But we'll pick a random winner and contact you tickets are yours. Family Fun Pack is all yours.
That's easy.
So that's all you have to do. Just go to the geekspeakradioshow.com. On the main page, everything is all on there. Before we get out of here, we have to talk about our TV shows. Terra Nova. Just spoke to Shawn a few minutes ago, who does a lot of the effects on Terra Nova. It almost lost me this past episode. It was a little slow.
Yeah,
but then it got me back again.
I think this last episode just lost me in a sense that I'm just kind of I want more. And I guess I think the answer is
Shawn
I want more.
Just teased you. More's coming.
I think what I want more of is the dinosaurs. So if I'm happy with the dinosaurs, and then I'll be pleased. I mean, what about you?
I like it. I mean, the only thing that I would complain is not. I always have a complaint, don't I? But the complaint is not the cartoony dinosaurs, because they have been getting better. Like I mentioned to Shawn.
Is it the storyline?
Yeah, it's not moving forward. It's not answering questions. Not even posing any new questions.
No,
it's just kind of
it's there.
Kind of like Fringe in the first season. It's kind of starting to be Dino of the Week now. But in this case,
that is true.
In this case, it's Situation of the Week. Like when was it? A week ago was the little pterodactyls. This week it was the murder mystery.
Yeah, you gotta. I don't know why, but there's a lot. They said a lot of groundbreaking questions, and they're not answering them. Like, who is this guy, and what's his involvement with this? The one that owns the bar, and what's his involvement with the?
It's starting to be where you have to put up through whatever the story of the week is, and at the very end, kind of like a tease. You know, when you get the next week on Terra Nova, kind of at the very end, you get something with the Sixers, and that sets up maybe their storyline.
Yeah, because I want more Sixers and dinosaurs. That's all I want.
Yeah, and they keep saying, what's the real reason for Terra Nova? What's Terra Nova really about?
What are all these signs about? Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the only complaint. So, hopefully, we'll get more of that in the coming months. Because now, this 20-game baseball, Super Bowl, whatever it's called.
World Series is over.
Yeah, it's over now.
I was upset as well.
No interruptions anymore. And then, speaking of, that means something else is back.
What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little upset last week.
Now you know exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
Because I had my cheese pizza, my red vines, everything ready to go. And in my market, at least, I get Seinfeld repeats. What?
Yeah, I know. But what can we expect? Peter's back.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Is Peter Bishop.
I don't even know what's going to happen in a couple of weeks. I'm just kind of like, I'm anticipating. I'm clueless.
And also, there's a challenge.
What's the challenge?
And we spoke about this off the air. You like Grimm. I love Grimm. Everybody that I tweeted about, and go follow it, and you get to see the pilot. Everybody's loving Fringe. It's a really, really good show.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge and problem is
which one to choose.
It's on Fridays at 9:00.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that Grimm's is going to face. There's a lot of loyalists to Fringe, and they're probably going to stick with Fringe. So there's going to be, if they were to, it'd make more sense if they were to put that show against Once Upon a Time. I mean, that's their competition.
Oh yeah, that's another show that came out. So let's talk about Once Upon a Time. Okay, so what are you going to watch, Grimm or Fringe?
I know at the end, Fringe. I've been waiting too long to know what's going to happen in this next coming up episode.
Okay, let's get a really honest answer from you. What are you really going to watch on Friday?
You really want to know?
Yes.
Peter Bishop, Fringe.
Okay, well, I got to be really honest with all of you guys and tell you exactly what I'm going to watch.
Grimm.
Yeah, what else would I watch? Sorry, NBC, but yes, I love them both so far, but I got a DVR Grimm.
Yeah, but it's only the pilot, so it's like, okay, I mean, we still have... I could put on my DVR.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When we were finished talking to Shawn earlier, you and producer Damon, I overheard you guys talking during the break that I think it was you or Damon, can't forget who said it. A show's first season is always the best.
Yeah.
I would say the same about the pilot.
Yeah.
Because if the pilot doesn't grab you, then you're probably not going to invest in the rest of the show.
But it only works for certain shows. Obviously, we know that the first season sucked. But it only works for certain shows. Like you said, it's going to be, they fit it, like Terra Nova, they fit into the Dino of the Week. Fringe, the first week was...
Yeah, Terra Nova, the pilot, it grabbed me right from the beginning. And producer Damon, jump in here. Last year, this happened to him. Walking Dead, when you saw the very first episode, what'd you think?
Oh, I loved it.
To this day, he's still hooked.
Yeah.
You still have it on your DVR
somewhere.
I do. You haven't seen this week's episode. So we're not going to talk about it because... Last week was good. This week's episode was even better.
Oh, man.
we had to cover your ears because producer Damon and I were talking about it, and you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it probably next week.
See, I've invested too much time into Fringe that I'm not going to give up watching a new show. Hell no. This is Fringe we're talking about, people.
Hell no, he won't go. But again, so there you go. That's our show for this week. Thanks to everybody who came on. You over there, I noticed in your face, you were getting inspired by all these people.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking of, damn, I should have went to that school instead of the one I went to.
Boy, does that mean you don't like being on this show or what?
No, I do. But I mean, how cool is it to work on? Well, actually, we do talk about the shows.
Stuff you geek out about.
Yeah,
all the
but
time.
they actually work on the shows that they do that I talk about. But it doesn't matter. It's all good. I mean, we are all in doing our part in this geek culture.
You know, again, you talk like you don't have a show where you have access to these people on a regular basis.
Well, now I do.
Yeah, now they're going to be your personal friends.
Yeah.
And like Rehana Khan said, real friends, not Twitter or Facebook friends.
We are networking, people.
Yeah. So let's thank everybody. Long list. But first we start with, you weren't here for this. You were at the library looking for your book.
Yeah.
Brian Bradford from the Noman School. Alexis Fajardo, the Kid Beowulf series. Rehana Khan, I just mentioned her, but she came in. Thanks for that. Steve Warner and Michelle Corbin from the Dave School. AJ from the Super Newts. And also the Adventures of Dorse and Doose. And they are at, right now, as we speak, they are at Kamikaze in LA.
Yeah. That's going to be a lot of fun. I wish I was there.
Yeah, those of you who are in LA, the LA area, and you don't have your tickets,
go get it.
Kamikaze, because somebody really special and somebody we geek out about is going to be there.
Excelsior.
There you go. Marcus DeBarros, 3D modeler at Pixamondo. Also Shawn Ewashko, who does composting at Pixamondo. That doesn't mean he takes stuff out to the green garbage can. He actually masters he creates the final scenes you see
image,
on Terra Nova. That's his big project right now. So thanks to all of those guys, and all the links will be up. I think I'm looking at producer Damien. They will be up pretty soon on geekspeakradioshow.com. So next week, what should we do?
I don't know. Talk more geek stuff.
I think I know what we should do.
What?
Come back here, do another show,
and talk more geek
and speak geek.
Yeah.
See you then. Oh yeah, bye.
That's all for this week. The Geek Speak Radio Show will be back next week with a brand new episode. In the meantime, follow them on Twitter at Geek Speak Radio 1. That's Geek Speak Radio, the number 1. Become a fan on Facebook, and don't forget to subscribe on iTunes. If you like this episode, wait till next week, and tell all your friends too. This is the Geek Speak Radio Show.